Good evening, everybody. This is going to be my first math tutorial online for you. I hope this is helpful and you review it at night, and then tomorrow morning when you come, we can practice this skill in class. The first thing I want to talk about today is long division, and specifically where to place the first number when we're doing long division. We have two numbers involved to begin with. The larger number that's being divided is called our dividend. The smaller number that we're going to be dividing it into is called the divisor. The first thing I ask myself is, how many 3's in this case will fit into 8? And of course, 3 is smaller than 8, so it can fit into that. How many 3's go into 8? Well, that's 2. So I put the 2 above the 8 to represent that 3 of them can fit into 8. In this case it works. 3 can go into 8, but that's not always going to be the case. Let's take this problem for example. Our dividend is 398 and our divisor is 5. I'm going to ask myself the same question. How many 5's can fit into 3? Well, because 5 is a larger number than 3, it won't work. Another way to think about it is, if your foot is size 5, can you fit your foot into a size 3 shoe? The answer is no, it won't fit. The same thing with this. So it's not that difficult to deal with. How many 5's go into 3? The answer is 0. None. And then I move on to the next set of numbers. So because I couldn't use 3 by itself, I then asked myself, how many 5's can go into 39? And think about that for a minute. How many 5's can fit into 39? Well, that's 7. So I put the 7 directly above the 9. Okay? So now that we've learned how to place our first digit, the next step is continuing with our long division. Over on the side, I've used a system here that we'll talk about more in class. We'll be using quite a bit. There's 5 steps. How many in is the first step. Step 2 is multiply. Step 3 is subtract. Step 4 is help. Step 5 is repeat until you're finished. Let's see how that works in practice. The first thing I did was ask myself, how many 3's went into 8? The answer was 2. So I'm done step 1. The next step 2 is to multiply. So here I can put a little multiplication symbol to remind myself. 2 times 3 is 6. So I've done step 2, I've multiplied. The next step, step 3 says subtract. So I'm going to do that. I put my line 8 above the 6. 8 minus 6 is 2. So I've completed step 3, which is subtract. The next step is very important, and it's kind of fun. You need to yell for help, to have another digit come down and help. In this case, the 5 is going to come down and help out. I now have 25 as a value here, and I repeat. I start over again with step 1. How many 3's go into 25? Well, 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 8 is 24. If I go any greater than that, it won't fit. So I'm going to put an 8 up here to represent this as a column I was doing my work in. And I go back to step 2, multiply. 8 times 3 is 24. I'm back to step 3, which is subtract. So 25 minus 24, that leaves me with just 1. Make sure you put your subtraction in the right column. It goes in the ones column in this case. And I'm left with nothing, so I need to yell for help again. This 2 comes down to help, and I begin the whole process. How many in is step 1? How many 3's go into 12? Well, I know that's 4, so I put that digit above. Step 2, multiply. 4 times 3 is 12. And I subtract again. I'm left with 0. And there's nothing left to do. So you'll see it says repeat until finished. Well, in this case, I'm finished. So tomorrow we'll be using this skill in class. I'm going to be sending you home some worksheets to practice with. Try your best and get some exercise in tonight on these lessons, and hopefully tomorrow we're ready to go.